I'm Hilary O'Neill. I have been chairperson of the CPAC, Southeast Patient Advocacy Group. We've been campaigning for 24/7 cardiac care in Waterford for quite some time. I just hope nobody has a heart attack tonight, guys, because, you know, if you do, we have no services in the Southeast. There's no cardiac care, so please put off to 9 o'clock in the morning if you can, okay?
The world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them without doing anything. Albert Einstein. You, ladies and gentlemen, are not those people who aren't doing anything because you're here tonight. I love my job, and I had a decision to make a few years ago. The processor came back to me and said, listen, we want you to set up a co-op, and we want you to artificially inflate the price of feed to claim VAT. We sat down and we said, no, we're not going to do this. We refuse to trade. Well, I tell you one thing, all hell broke loose. The processor refused to pay us, they wouldn't trade with us, and then he goes and he tries to sue us. If you don't sign this document, we're going to leave you without a roof over your head and we're going to destroy you and your family. And these are the people that Revenue and the Department of Finance and the ministers are protecting. People that can go round and threaten you like that. When Jonathan Sugarman went and told the central bank that there was not proper capitalisation, he was saying that they were breaking the law. They were putting this country at serious risk. What did they do? They threatened him. They threatened him. And he's never worked a day in his life after that again. Why? Because the new boycott is we put the wrong people up here and the right people down into the ground.
You're here.
The instructions that came from the society or from the management was very simple. It was do whatever it takes. No regard for what the customer wanted or what the member wanted or what was in the best interest of the member. It was do whatever it takes. And we obviously had serious concerns about this and we raised it with management. And when we did, well, let's just say the reaction was far from what we expected, and we would have known the management for years and would have dealt with them, but we certainly didn't expect what was going to come. The pressure that we were put under after that was absolutely enormous, and it was frightening. The chairman actually at the time wrote to us and said that the board would not flinch in its duty to investigate. That's the last I've heard, and that's 2010. From the bank. If you're a customer and I'm selling you a protected bond, the word protected would assume your money is protected. Would that be a fair assessment?
Yeah.
It's not. It's far from it. In the small print, it's very clear in the small print. It's only protected after a 5-year period. So if you want your money before then, good luck. And remember, this is 2011. There's lads and women losing jobs left, right and centre. Their sons and daughters losing jobs. People needed access to their money. It was at a very crucial stage of this country's economy.
But legal corruption, if I could explain, it takes many forms and includes cronyism, patronage and state capture. When powerful groups manipulate policy formation to serve their own interests rather than the public interest. And the total cost of that house was 454,316. Our friend in Germany, with the German mortgage, exact same figures, he paid total interest of only 49,000, as against 171,000 in Ireland. So our friend in Germany pays a total of 332,000 for his house, whereas the mugs here pay 454,000. So I can't understand. The media won't cover it. The media will never cover it. But we've got people on the streets for water charges for maybe 60 it was a couple of €100 a year, whatever it was very, very small in comparison to the robbery that's going on every single man, woman and child in this country. The Vulture funds. The Department of Finance had 64 meetings with the Vulture funds in 2013 and 2014, 64. Of those, Michael Noonan attended 8 meetings with the Vulture funds, and they decided to sell to the Vulture funds at up to 70% discount the loans from the criminal banks. But that wasn't really enough. The poor outlives, only getting 70% of a write-off. So Michael Noonan decided we'd create a tax haven for them. We gave them charitable status, and they don't pay any tax. And these are houses and farms and businesses that were built with our blood, sweat and tears, that are being handed over to these Vulture funds.
I have a small business in Gavin, and in 2012, and I can't name the banks because I went to court with them, was the Bank of Ireland, put the screws in us. And I decided that I tackled them on this, that, you know, you can't do this, what they were doing. So by the time I got finished with them, between refunds, overcharges and overpayments, I got 78,000 back from the bank, right? The Financial Services Ombudsman awarded us €2,000. So he really said, the bank took 78,000 out of you, and we're going to fine them 2,000. Now that seems a good deal to me, to be quite honest about it. We got our money back, and we weren't accepting the €2,000. So the only place you can go, which is a point one of the lads made earlier on, the only place you can appeal the Financial Services Ombudsman is through the High Court. So you're looking at a minimum of 40,000 in costs to appeal a 2,000 judgment. We took on the case, and I think it's just showed you the way the system works in the country. When you go into the High Court and you say to your barrister, how do you think it will go? And the barrister says to you, it all depends on what judge we get. Now, I think if that's the Central Justice in Ireland, we're all in trouble. Now, the judge ruled, he told me I should have been delighted with €2,000. And he ruled against me, he awarded costs against me, he awarded a whole lot against us.
All of us have been affected by corruption in Ireland. An Ireland that has looked after the privileged few, politicians, bankers, developers, lawyers, the media and media tycoons, while the marginalised, the poor, the sick, the young and the old, who are too worn down to help themselves, are having their basic rights ridden over by them every day by this government. And as a result of the work that I was doing in the Irish Independent, I was then contacted by somebody very close to Maurice McCabe, and he asked me if I would look at the evidence that Maurice McCabe was examining at the time. And this was before Maurice McCabe's story came into the public domain. So for me, I was really relieved that a member of An Garda Síochána had finally come forward and, you know, was blowing the whistle. And I thought, you know, all of these people who've been telling me about this terrible corruption have been vindicated, because now we have a member of the force stepping forward. I started to investigate some of the evidence that Maurice was putting, you know, had examined and had very serious concerns about. And it came to my attention that a large number of the elite in Ireland were being looked after when it came to their speeding points. And these were not the average ordinary citizen. These were state solicitors, judges, crime reporters, editors, people of influence, GAA, etc. The list went on. I'm not taking this anymore. I'm going to stand up for my rights. And this is what the Irish people need to start doing. They need to start thinking. And, you know, I mean, in my opinion, at this stage in Ireland, due to the levels of corruption, the social contract is broken in Ireland now. Politicians are not keeping their side of the deal. We go to work every day, we put in our money into revenue so that they can provide basic services to us. We don't ask a hell of a lot. and God knows we tolerate an awful lot of nonsense. But they're not keeping their side of the deal, and they're squandering our taxes. And therefore the social contract is broken. So now we have to say democracy is broken as well. And we're not going to put up with it anymore. So what do we do about it? Well, we have to start looking at other countries. And France, for example, with its population of nearly more than 60 million, can mobilise the people like that. A few weeks ago, during the height of summer, the Eiffel Tower was shut down. They just said, no, we're shutting this down. Europe's most high-profile tourist attraction, we're not having any more, shutting it down. That's what they do in Romania, and they take to the streets, and they stop. They say, stop, we're not doing this. And they get their rights respected.
I'm representing hundreds of parents from the parent-led support group Regret. Our children were all perfectly healthy before they were given the HPV vaccine in first year in secondary school. Now, when my daughter received that, that was a black label or a black triangle product. We were never told that. The symptoms that the children are all presenting with now are all detailed as possible side effects by the manufacturer on the patient information leaflet. The HSE is withholding that patient information leaflet from the parents. As a group, we have made 2 requests, and 2 requests only. One, that there is an independent investigation into what happened to our previously healthy daughters post-HPV vaccination. And the other request is that the patient information leaflet, as supplied by the manufacturer, is given to every parent prior to signing consent.
We need a movement. We need someone or some people to get behind, because of the different aspects to what that lady was talking about about vaccination. There's someone else, Coleman here, talking about corruption. There's so many fucking things, excuse me, that if there's not a movement, if corruption is not the sole target, we're at nothing. Because
there's serpents in the world, and how you kill a serpent is you cut it off at the head. These politicians, are past and present, are draining our system of wages, pensions, their own, and that's how it needs to stop. And that's the only way the people of Ireland will get behind it, is if there's a force put in place for our politicians to be ousted.
Because I work in the public sector and I tell them about the corruption, and they look at me as if I've 10 heads. What are you talking about? Because the media, as you said, are not informing the people. And so therefore, you know, and I would talk about Germany and Sweden and Switzerland, and they'd say, oh, there you are going on about Scandinavia. But then when it hit a girl that had autism, she turned to me and said she had an autistic child. She said, Eileen, you were right, I'm not laughing at you anymore. She said, if I was in Finland, I'd get A, B and C. They laugh at me. They laugh at me. They think I'm a nut, because it's not affecting them. So how can we get it out to the people? But this is what's happening in the country. The numbers that you spoke about, nobody knows about those numbers because the media are not telling us.